Have you ever dreamed of a place where every corner tells a story? Where mountains, rivers, and cities collide into a breathtaking masterpiece? Imagine wandering through Europe in 2026, discovering 100 of the continent's most beautiful places, some famous, some hidden, all unforgettable. From icy fjords in Norway to sun-kissed beaches on the Mediterranean, from bustling city streets to quiet, timeless villages, Europe is more than a destination. It's a journey through history, culture, and nature like nowhere else on Earth. In the next few minutes, you're about to see Europe as you've never seen it before, full of wonder, magic, and endless possibilities. So sit back, relax, and let your imagination take flight. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to stand in a place so beautiful that it takes your breath away before you even realize you're holding it? Europe in 2026 is more than a continent. It's a doorway into a world of cinematic landscapes, ancient cities, and hidden gems waiting to be rediscovered. This journey isn't just a list of destinations, it's a visual awakening, a celebration of every waterfall, every cobblestone street, and every horizon that makes Europe one of the most magical regions on Earth. So, prepare yourself, because once you see these places, you'll never look at travel the same way again. We begin our journey in Switzerland, a country that looks like it was hand-painted with impossible precision. The towering peaks of Lauterbrunnen Valley rise, like frozen giants, carved by time and sculpted by nature. Waterfalls plunge from cliffs hundreds of meters high, creating a soundscape that feels alive. The grass glows neon green in summer, and in winter, the landscape becomes a soft white canvas brushed by silent snowfall. As you stand here, surrounded by mountains older than human memory, you understand why travelers return again and again, because in Lauterbrunnen, the world feels untouched. From the Alps, we move toward the warmth of Italy, where the Amalfi Coast reveals one of Europe's most breathtaking coastlines. The villages seem to cling to cliffs as if defying gravity itself. Pastel-colored houses overlook turquoise waters. Lemon groves release a sweet breeze, and narrow streets lead to balconies with views that feel unreal. When the sun sets, the sky melts into a gradient of orange and rose, turning the entire coastline into a postcard brought to life. In 2026, the beauty of Amalfi remains timeless, but its charm feels more alive than ever. Next, we drift into France, where the lavender fields of Provence create a sea of purple stretching to the horizon. The scent fills the air like a natural perfume, and the buzzing of bees becomes a gentle soundtrack. Here, beauty isn't loud or dramatic. It's peaceful, calm, and dreamlike. The soft winds carry the warmth of the sun across endless fields, and every step feels like walking through a living painting. Provence isn't just visually stunning, it's emotionally soothing, a place where time seems to slow down. From the gentle calm of France, we enter the dramatic landscapes of Iceland, a country that feels like another planet. Black sand beaches, glowing volcanoes, icy blue caves, and waterfalls so powerful they shake the ground. In 2026, Iceland remains a destination of pure wonder, a place where fire meets ice, where landscapes change by the hour, and where the sky itself becomes a spectacle. When the northern lights sweep across the night, dancing in waves of green and violet, you understand that Europe holds some of the most mystical experiences on Earth. Our journey then leads us south into Greece, where Santorini rises from the Aegean Sea like a white and blue crown. The cliffside villages look almost unreal, as if built on the edge of a dream. Sunsets here are legendary. The sky turns molten gold as the rooftops glow with soft light. The breeze carries the scent of the ocean and the rhythm of island life. It's romantic, ancient, and beautifully simple. Every corner feels cinematic, every pathway leads to a new viewpoint, and every moment feels like a memory you'll never forget. From Greece, we travel to Norway, where the fjords carve deep into the earth, creating dramatic landscapes of mountains, cliffs, and mirror-still water. Here, nature feels overwhelmingly powerful. Peaks rise like stone monuments, waterfalls descend with thunderous force, and mist floats across the water like a mysterious veil. The silence here is profound, a silence so deep it becomes part of the experience. In 2026, Norway stands among the world's most visually striking landscapes, offering scenes that feel larger than life. We end this chapter in Spain, where the island of Majorca reveals beaches with crystal clear waters, rugged coastlines, and hidden coves carved by centuries of waves. The warm Mediterranean sun reflects off turquoise shallows, making the water glow from beneath. The color palette here is almost unbelievable: blues, golds, greens, all blending into a paradise that feels handcrafted by nature itself. Europe in 2026 isn't just stunning, it's evolving, rediscovered, and more captivating than ever. And this is just the beginning. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore ancient cities, secret islands, majestic mountains, medieval villages, and places so beautiful they don't seem real. If this chapter has already amazed you, the next ones will redefine what you think beauty truly means. What if there were places in Europe so enchanting, so surreal, that they feel like scenes stolen from a dream? And what if some of them are so hidden, so quietly magnificent, that even seasoned travelers barely know they exist? In this chapter, we uncover destinations that don't just impress, they overwhelm you with beauty. These are the European wonders that feel untouched, undisturbed, and unbelievably real. Our journey begins in the heart of Austria, in the lakeside village of Hallstatt, a place often described as the most beautiful village in the world. As morning mist rolls across the lake, the wooden houses seem to float above the water, their reflections rippling softly in the cool air. The towering Dachstein Alps surround the village like silent guardians. Every glance feels like stepping into a fairy tale. When church bells echo across the valley and swans glide across the surface, Hallstatt transforms into a living painting. In 2026, this small Austrian village still carries the magic of old Europe, untouched by time. Leaving the peaceful lakes of Austria, we travel to Portugal, where the coast of Algarve reveals a coastline sculpted by wind, waves, and centuries of nature's patience. Golden cliffs rise above emerald waters, sea caves glow with reflected sunlight, and hidden beaches appear between towering rock formations. The Benigil Cave, with its massive open dome, feels like a cathedral built by the ocean itself. As light pours through the circular opening, the sand illuminates in warm gold. This coastline is not just beautiful, it's wild, dramatic, and endlessly photogenic. From Portugal's cliffs, we fly northeast to Czechia, where the medieval town of Český Krumlov enchants visitors with its winding streets, stone bridges, and a majestic castle perched high above the Vltava River. The town's circular layout makes it look like a real-life fairy tale village. Red-roofed houses, cobblestone alleys, and lantern-lit evenings turn every corner into a cinematic backdrop. When the river wraps itself around the town like a silver ribbon, you understand why this place has remained a symbol of European charm for centuries. Our next destination takes us into Finland, far north into the land of the midnight sun. Here, in Lapland, the beauty is raw and untouched. Snow-covered forests stretch endlessly. Silent, frozen lakes mirror the glowing sky. Glass igloos allow travelers to sleep beneath the northern lights as they swirl like celestial rivers across the sky. In 2026, Lapland remains one of Europe's purest landscapes, a place where winter feels magical, where silence feels sacred, and where the sky becomes a canvas of color and motion. From the Arctic, we travel to Montenegro, where the Bay of Kotor forms one of Europe's most dramatic natural landscapes. Fjord-like mountains plunge directly into deep blue waters, creating a setting that feels both ancient and transcendent. The old town of Kotor, with its stone walls and narrow streets, sits quietly at the base of these towering cliffs. When sunlight breaks through the mountains and reflects across the water, The entire bay glows with silver light. In Montenegro, beauty is bold, rugged, and soul-stirring. Our journey continues into Germany, to the fairy tale world of Neuschwanstein Castle, the inspiration behind the famous Disney castle. Perched high on a forested hill, this 19th century masterpiece looks like something imagined rather than built. Turrets rise into the mist. The castle sits against a backdrop of mountains and valleys that shift with the seasons, lush green in summer, fiery orange in autumn, and pure white in winter. As sunrise touches its walls, Neuschwanstein appears golden, glowing, and otherworldly. From fantasy landscapes, we move to the dramatic cliffs of Ireland, where the cliffs of Moher stand as a testament to nature's raw power. Wind roars across the Atlantic. Waves crash against dark stone. Seabirds circle endlessly, riding the currents. Standing at the edge, you feel the world open up beneath you. Wild, vast, and ancient, the rugged coastline stretches out in both directions, leading into sweeping green fields that define Ireland's natural identity. We end this chapter in Slovenia, where Lake Bled becomes one of Europe's most iconic scenes. An emerald lake surrounded by mountains. A tiny island crowned by a fairy tale church. A medieval castle perched on a cliff overlooking it all. When sunlight hits the water, it sparkles like crystal. When the fog drifts in, the lake becomes mystical and dreamlike. Lake Bled isn't just beautiful, it's a symbol of Europe's quiet elegance. Europe's most remarkable beauty isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's hidden in small villages, remote mountains, or secret coastlines. And in the next chapters, we dive deeper into the continent's most breathtaking places, the ones that feel unreal, untouched, and unforgettable. What if you could see Europe in a way most travelers never do, not as a list of famous landmarks, but as a collection of places that defy belief, places so surreal, they feel almost impossible? In this chapter, we venture deeper into Europe's hidden wonders, exploring landscapes sculpted by nature, shaped by ancient cultures, and preserved through centuries of quiet existence. These aren't just destinations. They are moments frozen in time, waiting for you to step inside them. Our journey begins in Norway, where the towering fjords reveal the raw power of nature. The Geirangerfjord, with its steep, snow-dusted cliffs plunging into deep sapphire water, feels like the edge of the world. Waterfalls descend from impossible heights, drifting as fine mist into the air. Small mountain farms cling to cliffs that seem unreachable. As clouds roll low across the peaks, the fjord transforms into a fantasy landscape, half shadow, half shimmering light. Norway's fjords remind you how vast, how ancient, and how magnificent the planet truly is. From the icy north, we descend into the warm Mediterranean, landing in Italy's Amalfi Coast, a coastline where pastel-colored villages cling to cliffs and terraces of lemon trees glow under the sun. Roads wind like ribbons carved into the rock, revealing turquoise waters and secluded beaches hidden beneath vertical cliffs. Positano appears first, cascading down the hillside in perfect harmony with the sea. Boats drift lazily offshore. Sunlight reflects off the water like scattered diamonds. In Italy, beauty is not just seen, it's felt. Then we travel to Iceland, a place where the earth behaves like a living creature. Here, in the region of Landmannalaugar, the mountains glow with streaks of red, yellow, and orange. Hot springs bubble between fields of black lava rock. Steam rises from hidden vents, drifting into cold Arctic air. The landscape shifts with every step, colorful ridges, volcanic deserts, and rivers that cut through ancient lava. Iceland feels like a playground for the planet itself, shaping and reshaping the world with fire, water, and time. From volcanic landscapes, we move south to Greece, where the island of Santorini rises from the sea like a sculpted dream. Whitewashed houses spill down volcanic cliffs, their blue domes glowing against the sky. At sunset, the entire island transforms into a painting, clouds turning purple, rooftops glowing gold, and the caldera reflecting warm, orange light. As the wind carries the soft sound of church bells, Santorini reveals its true magic, a place where time slows, colors deepen, and the world feels more peaceful than ever. Next, we travel east to Turkey, where the otherworldly region of Cappadocia stretches across the horizon. Hundreds of hot air balloons rise into the dawn sky, slowly floating above rock formations shaped by centuries of erosion. Fairy chimneys, carved cave dwellings, and underground cities create a landscape that seems carved from imagination. When the sky turns pink and golden at sunrise, Cappadocia becomes one of the most dreamlike views on Earth, a scene that feels almost unreal. From Turkey's surreal valleys, we journey to Switzerland, home to some of Europe's most breathtaking alpine views. The village of Zermatt stands beneath the iconic Matterhorn, its jagged peak rising sharply into the sky. Wooden chalets line quiet streets, and fields of wildflowers stretch across green hills. Whether viewed under a blazing summer sun or wrapped in winter snow, the Matterhorn commands attention. Switzerland's mountains offer not just beauty, but a powerful sense of stillness, a place where silence becomes the soundtrack. Continuing through Central Europe, we reach Hungary, where Budapest glows with golden lights reflecting across the Danube. The Parliament building rises like a Gothic crown, and the Chain Bridge connects two halves of a city rich with history. At night, Budapest feels magical, its palaces and towers illuminated, its thermal baths sending steam into the cool evening air. Here, beauty meets culture, and history becomes part of everyday life. Our journey ends in France, on the island of Corsica, where rugged mountains meet pristine turquoise waters. Steep cliffs drop into crystal-clear coves, and small villages sit perched high above the coastline. Unlike its Mediterranean neighbors, Corsica feels wild, untouched, and fiercely natural. Forests, beaches, and peaks coexist in perfect harmony. It is Europe, at its purest, diverse, dramatic, and impossibly beautiful. Europe's wonders are scattered across countries, climates, and cultures. Some are world famous, while others remain quiet treasures hidden from the mainstream path. But all of them share something in common. They have the power to make you pause, breathe deeply, and remember how extraordinary our planet truly is. Have you ever imagined a place where every turn feels like a scene from a storybook, where the architecture, landscapes, and atmosphere blend into something almost too perfect to be real? In this chapter, we explore regions of Europe where history feels alive, nature feels untouched, and beauty appears in every direction. These destinations don't just impress the eyes, they awaken something deeper, something that makes you feel connected to centuries of human dreams, struggles, and triumphs. Our journey begins in Portugal, where the enchanting region of Sintra rises like a fantasy kingdom. Palaces painted in bold reds, yellows, and blues tower over misty forests. Peacock green moss covers ancient stones. The colorful Peña Palace stands proudly on a hilltop, glowing at sunrise like a monument from another world. As the wind carries the scent of eucalyptus through the air, Sintra pulls you into a blend of myth, royalty, and magic. Here, every pathway feels like it leads to a secret. From Portugal, we cross into Spain, home to landscapes so diverse they feel like different continents. In the region of Andalusia, the white village of Ronda sits perched dramatically on a cliff, split by a massive gorge. The Puente Nuevo Bridge connects the two halves of the town, rising hundreds of feet above the rushing river below. When the sun sets, the stone walls glow in golden hues, and the entire town feels suspended in time. Travel deeper into Spain, and you find the surreal desert of Bardenas Reals, an unexpected world of eroded cliffs and moon-like terrain that looks nothing like the Europe you expect. Continuing north, We enter France, where the village of Annecy lies beneath the Alps, wrapped around a turquoise lake so clear it mirrors the mountains perfectly. Flower-lined canals weave through medieval streets. Boats drift gently across the water, and swans glide near the shore. As you walk along the lake's shimmering edge, the town's pastel-colored houses and alpine backdrop create a scene so peaceful, it feels hand-painted. Annecy is often called the Venice of the Alps, but truthfully, it is something entirely its own, pure tranquility set against towering peaks. From the serene lakes of France, we head east to Austria, where Hallstatt sits like a dream between rocky cliffs and a dark, mirror-like lake. Timber houses climb the hillside, their balconies overflowing with flowers. Bells echo from the church tower, drifting across the water. Mist rolls down the forested mountains, giving the town a gentle, mysterious glow. Hallstatt is so beautiful that replicas have been built abroad, but nothing compares to standing on its quiet lakeshore and feeling the stillness settle around you. From Austria's fairy tale villages, we continue into Germany, where the Black Forest stretches endlessly across rolling hills. Dense, dark trees cover the landscape like a thick green blanket. Small cottages are scattered among meadows, and winding roads lead through forests that inspired countless myths and legends, even the tales of the Brothers Grimm. As sunlight filters through the tall pines, the forest reveals its otherworldly charm, a perfect balance of mystery and peace, shadow and light. Next, we enter Poland, where the city of Gdańsk glows with the charm of centuries past. Long Market Street stretches between tall, narrow houses painted in rich, pastel colors. Gothic towers rise above the skyline, and the sounds of street musicians echo softly through the air. As evening falls, golden lights illuminate the waterfront, turning the city into a glowing masterpiece of reflection and color. Gdańsk is a place where maritime history, culture, and elegance come together effortlessly. From Poland, we move north to the legendary landscapes of Scotland, where the Isle of Skye offers some of Europe's most dramatic scenery. Jagged mountains rise sharply from emerald green valleys. The Quirang's twisted formations look like they were carved by giants. Waterfalls tumble off cliffs into forgotten lakes. And when the clouds part, shafts of sunlight paint the slows down, colors become richer, and every turn invites you to pause and simply feel. This is not a journey for the eyes alone. It's a journey for the soul. Welcome to the chapter of Europe's hidden natural wonders, the places travelers talk about for years because nothing can quite compare to standing in the middle of their raw, untouched beauty. We begin in Plitvice Lakes National Park, Croatia's shimmering kingdom of turquoise water and hanging waterfalls. Imagine walking along wooden pathways, floating above crystal-clear lakes, where every pool reflects a different shade of blue, and every waterfall sounds like nature composing its own symphony. In 2026, Plitvice remains a sanctuary, protected, cherished, and more breathtaking than ever. Visitors leave with only one thought: photographs can never tell the full story. Your senses have to be there to understand. Next, we head to Interlaken, Switzerland, a place that feels like the heart of Europe's alpine magic. Surrounded by towering peaks and two sapphire-colored lakes, Interlaken is where adventure and tranquility coexist in perfect harmony. Skydiving over snow-capped summits, gliding through silent valleys, or simply standing at the foot of the Jungfrau, it's impossible not to feel small in the best, most humbling way. In 2026, Interlaken is one of the most sought-after places for travelers craving both thrill and serenity. From Switzerland, the journey moves north to Norway's Lofoten Islands, a dramatic world sculpted land in gold, creating moments so breathtaking they stay with you forever. On Skye, the world feels ancient, powerful, untouched. Our journey continues into Ireland, where the cliffs of Moher stand as towering guardians of the Atlantic coast. Waves crash hundreds of feet below, seabirds slice through the wind, and the endless ocean stretches to the horizon. shimmering in shades of blue and silver on a windy afternoon. Standing at the cliff's edge feels like standing at the edge of the world, where nature shows its strength and beauty without hesitation. Finally, we arrive in Czechia, where the city of Český Krumlov curves around the Vltava River in a perfect ribbon of medieval beauty. A grand castle rises above red-tiled rooftops. Cobblestone streets twist through centuries-old buildings. Lanterns glow softly over narrow bridges at night. Český Krumlov feels like a preserved fragment of old Europe. Quiet, magical, timeless. Europe's beauty is not just in its landmarks, but in the way each place tells a different story. From cliffs sculpted by nature to villages built by dreams, every destination reveals another layer of this continent's incredible diversity. And as we move forward on this journey, the wonders of Europe only grow more extraordinary. Have you ever seen a place so breathtaking that it feels almost unreal, like stepping into the pages of a dream you forgot you once had? In this chapter, we enter some of the most enchanting landscapes in Europe, places where time, by mountains that rise straight from the sea. This is where nature becomes art, rugged cliffs, glassy fjords, fishing villages, painted bright red against the deep Arctic landscape. Even in summer, you can catch the midnight sun glowing softly over the horizon, turning the ocean gold. Lofoten is the type of place that redefines silence, the type of place where time feels infinite. Then we arrive in Madeira, Portugal's floating garden in the Atlantic. Lush forests, narrow levada trails, volcanic cliffs, and a coastline kissed by constant waves. Madeira feels like paradise, crafted with intention. Travelers come here for its eternal spring weather and leave mesmerized by the mix of wild nature and peaceful villages. Sunrise from Pico do Arieiro remains one of Europe's most unforgettable experiences. Standing above the clouds, watching the island slowly come alive, feels like witnessing creation itself. Next, we ascend into the Dolomites of Italy, an alpine cathedral carved from pale, jagged rock. These mountains glow pink at dawn, silver at noon, and fiery red at sunset, an ever-changing masterpiece that has captivated explorers for centuries. In 2026, the Dolomites continue to be a haven for hikers, photographers, and anyone seeking landscapes that feel monumental yet comforting. Walking through places like Sisida or Trecime di Lavaredo is like crossing through the world's greatest painting, one that stretches beyond imagination. Finally, we find ourselves in Slovenia's lake, Bohinj, a quieter, more reflective cousin of the famous Lake Bled. Bohinj feels untouched, surrounded by mountains, wrapped in mist, and filled with an almost spiritual stillness. As sunlight dances across its surface, you understand why travelers call this place Europe's most peaceful retreat. Here, nature doesn't ask you to rush. It asks you to listen. These landscapes, wild, dramatic, healing, and awe-inspiring, prove that Europe is more than cities and monuments. It is a continent built by the forces of nature, shaped by mountains, rivers, seas, and time itself. And in these hidden corners, you are reminded of something simple yet profound. The world is still filled with beauty you haven't met yet. In the next chapter, we'll continue exploring Europe's wonders, places that reveal even more of the continent's magic, mystery, and charm. The journey continues, and the best is still ahead. What if I told you there are places in Europe where the world feels older, quieter, almost sacred? Places where human history and untouched nature blend into something so powerful that you can feel it in your chest the moment you arrive? In this chapter, we travel into the heart of Europe's ancient landscapes, the places where myths were born, civilizations rose, and the spirit of the past still whispers through stone and wind. These aren't just destinations, they are gateways into time itself. Our journey begins in Scotland's Isle of Skye, a land shaped by volcanic forces and endless imagination. Standing before the jagged peaks of the Kiraing, or walking beneath the shadowy cliffs of the Old Man of Store feels like stepping into a living legend. Mist rolls over emerald hills, waterfalls plunge down rugged cliffs, and everything around you looks sculpted by giants. In 2026, Skye remains as mystical as ever, remote, dramatic, and unforgettable. Travelers don't just visit Skye, they surrender to it. From Scotland, we travel to Iceland's Golden Circle, a realm where nature still feels untamed. Here, geysers burst from the earth with raw power, waterfalls thunder into ancient canyons, and volcanic plains stretch beyond the horizon. At Hangvellir National Park, tectonic plates slowly drift apart, reminding you that the earth beneath your feet is alive. In 2026, Iceland continues to be one of Europe's most otherworldly destinations, a place where fire, ice, water, and sky collide in spectacular harmony. Next, we descend into the Saxon-Switzerland National Park in Germany, home to surreal stone pillars that rise like ancient guardians above deep forest valleys. The iconic Base Day Bridge appears suspended between worlds, connecting towering cliffs that look as if they've been carved by forgotten gods. Mist often drifts through the landscape in the early morning, creating a dreamlike scene that feels painted rather than real. For photographers and hikers, Saxon Switzerland is a masterpiece that never stops revealing new angles. Our path then takes us to Montenegro's Dermitor National Park, a rugged wilderness carved by glacial lakes and deep canyons. The Tara Canyon, one of the deepest in the world, snakes through the mountains with hypnotic power. Standing on the edge, looking down into the swirling turquoise river far below, you realize just how vast and ancient this land truly is. Dermitor is Europe at its rawest, untouched, wild, and profoundly beautiful. From Montenegro, we move to Ireland's County Kerry, home to a coastline that feels like a storybook brought to life. Jagged cliffs drop dramatically into foaming waves, winding roads follow the contour of emerald hills, and tiny villages glow with warm light in the evenings. The Ring of Kerry, with its panoramic views and windswept beauty, remains one of Europe's most enchanting routes. In 2026, travelers continue to come here to experience Ireland's soul, its music, its landscapes, and the quiet magic that fills the air. We then journey south to Spain's Picos de Europa, a mountain range often overshadowed by the Pyrenees, but no less spectacular. Deep gorges slice through limestone peaks, wild horses roam across green meadows, and old stone villages sit untouched by time. Walking through the Ker's Gorge feels like venturing into a different era, narrow paths carved along cliffs, roaring rivers beneath your feet, and the constant echo of nature's heartbeat. Picos de Europa is a reminder that Europe's beauty lives not just in famous landmarks but in hidden valleys and forgotten mountains. Finally, we reach Greece's Meteora, a place that defies logic and gravity. Here, ancient monasteries sit perched atop impossibly tall rock pillars, as if floating between earth and sky. Built centuries ago by monks seeking isolation and peace, these monasteries remain one of Europe's most spiritual sights. At sunset, as golden light washes over the stone giants, Meteora feels like a bridge between the mortal world and the heavens. These ancient landscapes, shaped by nature and preserved through time, tell stories that are older than language. They remind us that the world is larger, deeper, and far more mysterious than we often realize. Visiting them in 2026 is not just an adventure, it's a pilgrimage into the heart of Europe's timeless soul. And now, as the journey continues, prepare for what comes next, because Europe still has wonders waiting in the next chapter, places that reveal the continent's charm in unexpected and unforgettable ways. Imagine a Europe where color becomes a language, where every street, every sunrise, every coastline feels painted by an artist who refuses to repeat a single brushstroke. In this chapter, we explore the continent's most breathtaking, color-filled destinations, places where beauty hits you instantly and stays in your memory forever. These are the vibrant corners of Europe people dream about, yet still can't believe are real until they stand there, seeing every shade with their own eyes. Our journey begins in Cinque Terre, Italy, a coastline so colorful it looks like a living palette. The 5 cliffside villages, Vernazza, Manarola, Monterosso, Corniglia, and Riomaggiore rise from the rocks in bright pastel shades that glow under the Mediterranean sun. Narrow pathways weave between lemon groves and sparkling sea views, while fishing boats rest in harbors painted with streaks of blue, red, and yellow. In 2026, Cinque Terre remains timeless, beautiful, and wonderfully alive, an artist's dream brought to life. From Italy, the colors shift as we arrive in Porto, Portugal. The city glimmers with warm golden tones, tiled facades, and the deep ruby shades of wine aging in centuries-old cellars. Standing on the Dom Luís I bridge at sunset, you watch the Douro River reflect the city lights like a shimmering mosaic. Porto's charm comes not from perfection, but from authenticity, a beautiful mix of old-world architecture, modern energy, and a color palette that feels warm enough to embrace you. Next, we wander into the blue city of Chefchaouen, nestled at the foot of Morocco's Rif Mountains but part of countless European travel routes. Every shade of blue fills its maze-like alleys. Sky blue, ocean blue, deep indigo, creating an atmosphere so calming, it feels like walking inside a dream. In 2026, Chefchaouen continues to attract travelers seeking peace, beauty, and escape from the noise of modern life. Returning to Europe, we find ourselves in Budapest, Hungary, one of the continent's most photogenic capitals. The city's nights glow with golden light reflecting off the Danube River. The Parliament building, illuminated like a royal palace, feels almost unreal in its perfection. Thermal baths radiate warm steam into cool air, creating a mystical glow at sunrise. Budapest is a city that dazzles you long after you leave. From there, we arrive at Provence, France, a region defined by color and fragrance. Lavender fields stretch to the horizon in endless purple waves. Sunflower farms flare with yellow brilliance under deep blue skies. Small stone villages glow honey gold in the afternoon light. Provence in 2026 remains one of Europe's most iconic landscapes. Vibrant, aromatic, and impossibly romantic. We continue to Santorini, Greece, a place where color meets contrast in a breathtaking dance. Whitewashed houses spill down volcanic cliffs, domed churches glow sapphire blue, and the Aegean Sea glitters like a shimmering mirror. Sunsets here are legendary, fiery orange, melting into pink and purple as the island lights up for the night. Santorini represents beauty distilled to its essence, and each year it captivates millions with its luminous charm. Next, we move to Hallstatt, Austria, a lakeside village painted in soft, calming hues. The pastel-colored houses reflecting in the still waters of Lake Hallstatt look almost too perfect to be real. Mist drifts between the mountains in the early morning, adding a dreamy atmosphere that feels like a fairy tale becoming reality. In 2026, Hallstatt remains one of Europe's most serene and photographed destinations. We then glide to the Amalfi Coast, where every turn reveals a new explosion of color, bright houses built into towering cliffs, turquoise coves hidden between rocks, and lemon groves glowing under the southern sun. Positano, in particular, looks like a cascading waterfall of color, vibrant, energetic, and unforgettable. The Amalfi Coast doesn't just impress, it overwhelms you with beauty. From coastal Italy, we leap north to Copenhagen, Denmark, where Nyhaven's rainbow-colored buildings line the waterfront like a cheerful welcome sign. Outdoor cafes stretch along the canal, boats sway gently in the breeze, and pastel reflections ripple across the water. Copenhagen's charm lies in its simplicity, clean lines, bold colors, and a calm atmosphere that instantly makes you feel at home. Our final stop is Tallinn, Estonia, a medieval city painted in warm tones, brick red rooftops, golden spires, and pastel walls that glow under both sun and snow. Exploring its old town feels like time traveling through centuries of culture, all wrapped in a beautiful, colorful scene that never loses its magic. These places prove something essential about Europe. Beauty lives not only in landscapes and architecture, but also in the colors that shape emotion and memory. In 2026, these vibrant destinations stand as reminders that the world is full of wonder, bold, bright, and waiting to be explored. Prepare yourself, because the next chapter uncovers an entirely different side of Europe, one that reveals mystery, depth, and untold stories hidden just beneath the surface. What if Europe's greatest secrets were hiding far from the crowds, tucked behind mountain valleys, carved deep into forests, or sleeping inside villages most travelers never even heard of? In this chapter, we step into the quiet, untouched, and almost otherworldly places of Europe. Places that feel frozen in time, where nature still rules, and where every moment feels like discovering a world no one else has seen before. Our journey begins in the mysterious Faroe Islands, a remote archipelago between Iceland and Norway. Here, cliffs rise like giant emerald walls from the Atlantic Ocean. Waterfalls plunge directly into the sea, and grass-covered rooftops blend perfectly with the landscapes. The village of Gazadalur feels like a lost world, hidden behind mountains for centuries before a tunnel connected it to the outside. The Faroe Islands in 2026 remain untamed, dramatic, and pure, a raw reminder of what Earth looked like before humans shaped it. From the cold winds of the north, we travel to the deep heart of Romania's Transylvania, a region wrapped in legends and forests older than recorded history. Mist swirls around the Carpathian Mountains at dawn, and hidden inside their valleys are fortified churches, ancient castles, and villages where horse-drawn carts still roll across dirt roads. Biatan, Viskri, and Sigishora stand like medieval paintings come to life. This is not the Transylvania of horror stories. It is one of Europe's most peaceful, untouched corners. Next, we explore Slovenia's Socha Valley, where the river flows in a surreal shade of emerald you won't believe until you see it. The water is so clear it reveals every stone beneath its surface. Mountains rise around the valley like natural guardians, and wooden bridges span across the glowing river. This is a place for those who want silence, purity, and nature at its most pristine. Our path then leads to the remote island of Gavdos, Greece, the southernmost point of Europe. Fewer than 100 people live here year-round. The beaches are wild, the waters crystal blue, and the nights filled with stars so bright they light up the sand. Gavdos is not for luxury seekers. It's for those who want to step completely outside the modern world and feel what true solitude means. From Greece, we journey into Bosnia and Herzegovina's Una National Park, where hidden waterfalls crash into turquoise pools surrounded by dense woodlands. Strabachki Buk, one of the park's crown jewels, looks like a staircase of cascading white water. Wooden pathways wind through the forest, leading to quiet corners where the only sound you hear is the continuous roar of nature. It's a paradise still unknown to most travelers. Leaving the forests, we head to the isolated beauty of Madeira's Loura Silva forest in Portugal. This ancient, UNESCO-protected forest is so dense, so green, and so humid that it feels like entering a prehistoric world. Mist rolls between the trees like drifting spirits, and narrow trails lead you through tunnels of moss-covered branches. Madeira, in 2026, offers dramatic cliffs, volcanic peaks, and this magical forest that feels like Earth's own cathedral. North again, we arrive in Norway's Lofoten Islands, a dreamlike world of razor-sharp mountains, glassy fjords, and fishing cabins perched at the water's edge. In winter, the aurora dances above the icy sea. In summer, the midnight sun bathes the archipelago in endless golden light. Lofoten is one of those rare places where silence has weight, where every view looks like a painting, and where nature overwhelms you with its scale. From Norway's dramatic coasts, we move toward Montenegro's Dermator National Park, a rugged land of deep canyons, glacial lakes, and towering peaks. The Tara River Canyon, often called the European Grand Canyon, cuts through the mountains in breathtaking curves. Black Lake reflects the surrounding pine forests like a perfect mirror. This is Europe in its most raw, untamed form. Then, we drift into Scotland's Isle of Skye, a place where myth and nature blend seamlessly. The Old Man of Storr rises like giant stone fingers reaching toward the sky. The Kiraing looks carved by ancient gods, twisted and wild. Fairy Glen and fairy pools shimmer with a mystical aura that legends cling to. Skye feels ancient, magical, and full of quiet power. Our final destination in this chapter lies at the edge of Europe, Iceland's West Fjords, one of the least visited regions of a country already known for its dramatic landscapes. Here, roads curve along cliffs that plunge directly into icy waters. Red sand beaches glow under soft Arctic light. Dinjandi waterfall spreads across the mountainside like a shimmering white veil. The West Fjords feel like another planet, harsh, beautiful, and unforgettable. Each of these places reveals something extraordinary about Europe. Even in 2026, when the world feels mapped and explored, there are still corners untouched by time. Still wild places waiting for those who seek something deeper than a postcard moment. Those who want to step into silence, mystery, and awe. In the next chapter, we will explore the cultural treasures of Europe, the music, traditions, festivals, and living heritage that bring this continent's soul to life. What if you could experience the heartbeat of Europe not through landscapes, not through monuments, but through the living traditions that have survived centuries? This chapter takes you into the soul of Europe, where culture isn't displayed behind glass. It's lived, performed, and celebrated. What you're about to see is not tourism. It's identity, history, and emotion unfolding in real time. Our cultural journey begins in Spain, where the pulse of flamenco echoes through the narrow streets of Andalusia. At night, tablaos fill with the raw sounds of guitar, strings, and the rhythmic stomp of dancers. You feel the intensity of every movement, the sorrow, the passion, the celebration. Flamenco is not a show. It is centuries of struggle and joy told through music. In 2026, Spain's cultural scene remains one of Europe's most powerful emotional experiences. From the fiery south of Spain, we travel to the refined elegance of Austria, where classical music still resonates from grand halls. In Vienna, the legacy of Mozart, Beethoven, and Strauss lives on in the Golden Hall in the State Opera. Watching a performance here feels like stepping into another era. Under the chandeliers, surrounded by a sea of red velvet and golden balconies, you witness the cultural heartbeat that shaped Europe's artistic identity. Next, we move east into Hungary, where thermal baths and folk dancing carry traditions that go back hundreds of years. In Budapest, the Danube reflects the lights of Parliament as couples dance the Czardas in traditional embroidered costumes. The rhythm is fast, powerful, energetic. You feel Hungary's story in every step. Our path leads to Italy, a country where culture is woven into daily life. In Venice, gondoliers still sing as they glide through silent canals. In Florence, artisans carve marble using methods passed down through generations. And in Sicily, vibrant street festivals fill entire cities with music, food, and fireworks. Italy's traditions are not fading, they're alive, celebrated, and fiercely protected. Then, we journey to Ireland, where folklore and storytelling remain at the heart of the culture. In pubs across Dublin and Galway, musicians gather nightly, playing traditional tunes on fiddles and tin whistles. Stories blend with music, and history flows through every lyric. These gatherings feel intimate, authentic, and timeless, like stepping into a living legend. From Ireland's warmth, we travel into the ornate world of Poland's Krakow, particularly during the annual Christmas market. Wooden stalls glow under strings of lights, selling handmade crafts, carved toys, and warm pierogi. Choirs sing traditional Polish carols, and the smell of cinnamon and roasted nuts fills the air. It is one of Europe's most magical cultural celebrations, wrapping centuries of heritage into a single moment. Our cultural journey then moves to France, a country where culinary tradition is an art form. In Provence, the scent of lavender drifts through the markets. In Lyon, chefs carry forward centuries-old cooking methods, turning simple ingredients into masterpieces. And along the streets of Paris, cafes become stages for conversation, philosophy, and everyday life. French culture doesn't shout, it captivates with subtlety and elegance. From the softness of France, we enter the lively world of Germany's Oktoberfest in Munich. Here, culture thrives through laughter, music, and shared celebration. Traditional lederhosen and dirndl outfits fill the beer tents, brass bands play folk melodies, and plates of pretzels and roasted meats move across long wooden tables. Oktoberfest is more than a festival. It is a symbol of community, resilience, and tradition. Our journey continues inside Turkey's Cappadocia region, where cultural heritage blends with ancient rituals and vibrant craftsmanship. At sunrise, hot air balloons rise above fairy chimneys, while below, artisans shape pottery using techniques thousands of years old. Whirling dervishes perform the Sema ceremony, a spiritual dance representing the soul's journey toward enlightenment. It is one of the most mesmerizing cultural experiences on Earth. Next, we turn to Portugal, where fado music carries the weight of longing and nostalgia. In dimly lit taverns of Lisbon and Coimbra, singers pour emotion into every note. It's a haunting sound, slow, powerful, unforgettable, a cultural expression born from hardship, love, and the sea. We end this chapter in the Balkans, a region rich with tradition. In Serbia, Bosnia, and North Macedonia, weddings last for days, filled with music, dancing, and colorful attire. Traditional kolo dances unite entire communities, forming circles that symbolize unity and strength. In 2026, these traditions remain vibrant, celebrated, and proudly passed to new generations. Europe's cultures are not simply preserved, they are lived. From music to dance, festivals to gastronomy, the continent is a living museum where every region tells its own story. And the deeper you travel, the more you realize that these traditions are the beating heart of Europe. In the final chapter, we bring everything together: nature, culture, history, and wonder, to reveal what makes Europe one of the most extraordinary destinations on Earth. What if there was one chapter, a single moment, where everything you've seen across Europe finally comes together? The landscapes, the cultures, the histories, the legends, all merging into a portrait of a continent unlike anywhere else on Earth. This is the closing journey, the final sweep across Europe's most breathtaking places, revealing a truth we often forget. Europe isn't just a destination, it's a feeling, an emotion, a story written over thousands of years. And if there's one thing you'll take away from this adventure, it's that Europe is alive in ways you can only understand when you see it yourself. We begin our final chapter in Norway, where the midnight sun turns the sky into a painting of gold and amber. The fjords, carved by ancient glaciers, stand silent and motionless, massive walls of rock rising from calm, mirror-like waters. In 2026, Norway remains one of the most awe-striking countries on Earth. As you glide across the fjords by boat, the world feels impossibly big, yet intimately quiet. There's a sense of ancient peace here, a reminder that nature writes the greatest masterpieces. From the frozen north, we descend to the sunlit shores of Croatia's Dalmatian coast, where the Adriatic Sea glows in impossible shades of turquoise. The walled city of Dubrovnik stands untouched by time, its terracotta rooftops shining beneath the Mediterranean sun. The islands scattered across the coastline feel like hidden jewels. Hvar, Korčula, Vis, each offering a slower rhythm, a softer world. Europe's charm lies in these contrasts. One day you stand beneath the northern lights. The next, you float above a sea so clear it looks like liquid crystal. Next, we journey to Romania's Transylvania, where medieval villages, fortified churches, and misty mountains create one of Europe's most atmospheric landscapes. In the early morning, fog drifts across fields and forests, giving castles like Bran and Hunyadi a ghostly beauty. But beyond the legends and stories, Transylvania is a place where time slows, where life is simple, and where nature still dominates the horizon in every direction. Our path leads west to the Swiss Alps, a world carved from ice and stone. Snow-covered peaks stretch endlessly toward the heavens, and lakes shimmer in perfect shades of emerald and sapphire. At sunrise, the Matterhorn glows with soft, golden light as clouds wrap gently around its edges. Switzerland is Europe's natural crown, a place where beauty feels almost unreal. In 2026, its landscapes remain untouched, pristine, and unforgettable. From the mountains of Switzerland, we shift to the historic heart of Greece, where whitewashed villages cling to volcanic cliffs and ancient ruins speak the language of gods and heroes. In Santorini, the sunset paints the sky in bright oranges and soft pinks, casting its glow across the Aegean Sea. In Athens, the Parthenon still stands, illuminated against the night, a monument to civilization itself. Greece bridges Europe's past and present like no other place. We continue to the United Kingdom, where nature and myth intertwine. The cliffs of Dover rise dramatically above the sea, while the rugged Scottish Highlands stretch across vast, haunting landscapes. Mist swirls around the edges of ancient castles. Lakes reflect gloomy skies and bright sunbreaks. In Wales and Northern Ireland, green fields roll endlessly toward the horizon. The UK feels like a breathing storybook, untamed, wild, and fiercely beautiful. From these windswept lands, we glide south to France's Loire Valley, where chateaux rise like fantasies above rivers and vineyards. This region is a blend of elegance, romance, and living history. Each castle tells a story of kings, queens, artists, and dreamers. And beyond the Loire, France reveals endless beauty. Lavender fields in Provence, dramatic cliffs in Normandy, and the glowing city lights of Paris. France reminds us that beauty can be delicate, powerful, and endlessly artistic. We then travel into Portugal, a country shaped by the sea. The cliffs of the Algarve tower above wild Atlantic waves. In Madeira, mountains plunge into clouds, and waterfalls hide within deep green forests. Portugal is a place of dramatic contrasts, where landscapes feel both ancient and untouched. The warmth of its culture and the richness of its coastlines make it one of Europe's most captivating destinations. Our final landscapes lie in Slovenia, one of Europe's most underrated treasures. Lake Bled, with its tiny island church floating atop still waters, looks like something from a fairy tale. Nearby, the Julian Alps rise sharply beyond emerald forests. Caves run deep beneath the mountains, and rivers flow in impossible shades of green. Slovenia is small, but it carries the full magic of a continent. And now, as our journey reaches its end, one truth becomes clear. Europe is not just beautiful. It is astonishing. It is a continent where every border hides another world, every culture adds a new chapter, and every landscape feels like a dream you never want to wake from. Europe is mountains and seas, forests and deserts, villages and megacities, legends and living history. It is humanity's open book, written in stone, water, and time. As the final images fade, Remember this: the world is vast, but few places offer the variety, emotion, and wonder that Europe holds. If you ever want to feel alive, if you ever want to understand the power of travel, let Europe be the place where your story begins. Our journey across Europe in 2026 may be coming to an end, but the memories, the stories, and the sights will stay with you forever. From ancient castles to pristine lakes, vibrant cities to hidden villages, Europe has revealed its soul rich, diverse, and endlessly inspiring. Every corner tells a story, every view awakens wonder, and every experience reminds us why travel changes us. So whether it's your first visit or your 100th, Europe will always have something new, waiting to take your breath away. Thank you for joining us on this unforgettable journey. Europe's magic is endless, and the adventure never truly ends. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful destinations from around the world. Got a favorite spot in Prague? Drop it in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, safe travels, and see you in the next video.